gás não convencional. Tá? Então, vamos começar. Vou perguntar lá para o Henrique se já está filmando. Então, deixa eu fazer a apresentação aqui para o pessoal dos Estados Unidos. As apresentações são em inglês, né, gente? Porque a gente tem que mandar o nosso vídeo lá para os Estados Unidos e para a Holanda. E aí eu chamo o Hugo para a gente começar essa apresentação em inglês. Dear partners in the Netherlands and in Washington, this is day 2 of our presentations, and today we are focusing on fuels, and we're going to talk a little bit about the shale gas in Brazil, non-conventional gas, the exploitation, how it's developing in Brazil, and we are very fortunate to have here with us Hugo, who will be our first speaker. He is an official with the regulatory agency that regulates oil and gas and biofuels. We have a regulatory agency solely dedicated to regulate those issues. And we're going to hear after his presentation from Guilherme, who is an attorney specialized in environmental law and working in the fields of liabilities associated to oil and gas spills and accidents. So he's going to talk to us a little bit about the framework, the legal framework in Brazil relating to those areas. So without further ado, I will hand over to Hugo, who will speak to us about the developments of the non-conventional gas exploitation in Brazil.
Thank you, Romulo. Good evening. I prepared a very simple presentation to you, and I want to tell you that I will read something because I think it's better. I will make less mistakes if I read. So, good evening, Professors Antônio Augusto Reis and Romulo Sampaio, the students from Brazil, Netherlands, and the United States. I'm honored to be invited for this meeting. And on behalf of ENP, I want to thank you all for the opportunity to show our work. I'm sure that the cooperation between the Getúlio Vargas Foundation School of Law, George Washington Law School, and Groningen University will bring important knowledge for each person and for the institutions involved on this effort of comparative law sustainable energy. My name is Hugo Afonso. I'm 34, civil engineer for 11 years. I have a master's degree in geotechnical engineering from PUC Rio, and I work at the ENP since 2008. Since December 2011, I am working at the Superintendence of Operational Safety and Environment, and I recently assumed the post of Deputy Superintendent. I'll be short. In the next 30 minutes, you will receive elements to build your own value judgment about the exploration and production of shale gas as an unconventional resource in Brazil. All the information shared here is public and can be reached on the internet. At the end of this presentation, you will see a list of relevant links. This issue is under the spotlights of national and international community. People involved with the oil and gas industry should share their experiences and valuable information. I'm sure you will see something here today that will change your point of view. So let's move on. I want to start just explaining that I used two materials, two papers, as a fundamental of my presentation. This is the first one from the Society of Petroleum Engineers. This is available on the internet, and as you can see in the title, what every representative, environmentalist, regulator, reporter, investor, university researcher, neighbor, and engineer should know about estimating frac risk and improving frac performance in a conventional gas and oil wells. In the end of the presentation, you have some links to this paper. I think it's very important to read that, and I know that you will have a work after the course, and I'm sure that it will help you a lot. And And also this one from the International Association of Oil and Gas Producers. The focus here is Europe, but it also have a lot of important information, and I use some pictures of these two materials in this presentation. So let's move on. This is a picture. I think if we I will turn on the lights just after this picture. This is a picture of the unconventional operations. We don't have a drill rig here. This is the phase of fracturing. So you can see these white trucks that have water, and these red trucks that are the pressure trucks, the pressure pumps. And here is the well, and the water is injected inside of this well in a deep, very deep on the subsoil, and then the fracturing occurs. This is like a pool with where you put the flow back of the well, the water that you injected. A part of this water stay on the subsoil, and a part of this water return to the surface. So you have to collect and treat this water. And this is the picture of an unconventional operation. In a few minutes I will talk about the comparison of conventional and unconventional operations. And I want to play a movie just to have an idea of what does conventional operations means. This is available on the...
In order to maximize the production potential of the well, the shale formation will be hydraulically fractured.
Just to tell that I picked this on the internet. This is a company that operates in the US, but I'm not doing any kind of listing here. This is available on the internet, and it's a good movie and very short.
In preparation for the fracturing process, the casing will be perforated in the horizontal portion of the well using tubing-conveyed perforating guns containing explosive charges. The perforated intervals are spaced approximately 50 to 80 feet apart and create a connection between the production casing and the shale formation. With the initial perforating complete, the tubing and perforating guns are pulled to the surface, and the workover rig is replaced by a hydraulic fracturing crew consisting of a number of high-pressure pumps and blending equipment. This equipment will pump a mixture of water and proppant, usually sand, through the newly created perforations in the production casing and into the shale formation. First, water is passed from a water storage impoundment into the blue working tanks depicted on this location. The water is then pulled into a hydration unit, which provides the ability to gel the fluid before it is transferred to the blender. At the blender, proppant and a small amount of chemicals that aid in the fracturing process are added. The blender transfers the fluid and proppant mixture to the pump trucks through the low pressure side of the manifold. The fracturing pumps increase the pressure of the fluid, sending it back through the high pressure side of the manifold to the fractory where it enters the well. The entire fracturing process is controlled from the treatment monitoring van. When the fracturing fluid reaches the perforations, pressure builds until the shale formation fractures, allowing fluid to enter into the formation. Additional fractures are created along natural zones of weakness in the shale. These fractures are contained within the shale formation, well below the ground. After an initial stage of fluid called the pad is pumped to create a fracture area, proppant is added to the fluid and is distributed throughout the newly created fracture network. At the conclusion of the fracturing treatment, the proppant allows the fractures to remain open so that the natural gas can flow into the production casing and to the surface. This completes the first of several stages in the fracturing process. This process is repeated by lowering and pumping down an isolation plug and perforating guns into the wellbore to complete the next stage of fracturing. This time, the tools are conveyed into the well by a wireline unit, which allows the fracturing process to proceed much faster and more efficiently. A lubricator is used to control the pressure of the well while the operation is taking place. On the bottom of the perforating gun, a composite bridge plug is placed to isolate the newly fractured zone. This ensures that the subsequent fracturing treatment is contained in the current zone. The perforating gun is again fired at roughly 50 to 80 foot intervals, creating a connection between the production casing and the shale formation. The fracturing process is then repeated until all of the stages are completed. A typical shale well has approximately 8 to 12 stages of fracturing. At the conclusion of the fracturing operations, the isolation plugs are removed from the well and production can start. The produced fluids are diverted through a flowback manifold into storage tanks. The fluids are then recycled or disposed of according to state and federal regulations.
That's it. Well, we will be back to this operational issues, but I want to tell you how does ANP works. ANP was created in 1997 by the law 9478, and thank you. And in the structure of ANP is the Brazilian regulatory agency for oil, gas, and biofuels. In the structure of the executive branch, ANP is linked to the Ministry of Mines and Energy and the Presidents of the Republic. We are also related to the National Council for Energy Policy, and our activities goes from the wellhead to the gas station, and our main duties are to hire, regulate and supervise the activities of the industry. One of our important departments is the blocks defining superintendents. There, geologists and geophysicists are studying our sedimentary basins. Hire a series of studies direct from the market: seismic acquisition, geochemistry, crystal core, and drilling of stratigraphical wells. Our data is stored on the BDEP, the Data Bank of Exploration and Production. From 2007 to 2014, our investment budget is equivalent to $1.8 billion. The studies that we are doing show that more than 60% of our gas potential is at onshore new frontiers. What does it mean? Basins, new frontiers are basins where there are few exploratory activities until now. The 12th bid round will happen in October, and we will have 6 sedimentary basins on this bid offer. That's one of the reasons why ANP is going to promote this bid round. Our country has a very limited knowledge of many other onshore sedimentary basins. We need to know more. The 12th bid round next October will offer onshore blocks with potential for natural gas containing conventional and unconventional resources. As you can see on this picture, there are 6 onshore basins, and I can tell you that the yellow basins here, the Parecis basins, Paraná basins, and São Francisco basins, and also the Côncavo basins, we believe that there are opportunities for unconventional gas too. The other, Parnaíba basin and Acre basin, we believe that there are opportunities for more for conventional, but we can have unconventional in all of that basins. But we believe that in the yellows, this one, the unconventional will be more present. Well, the main features of the concession agreement for exploration and production of oil and gas in Brazil are related to Article 177 of our national constitution. This article determined as monopolies of the Federal Union the activities of prospecting, refining, importing, exporting, shipping, and shipping oil derivatives. The Article 6 of Law 9,478 from 1997 in this paragraph 13. Defines blocks as a part of a sedimentary basin formed by a vertical prism of indeterminate depth with a polygonal surface defined by the geographic coordinates of its vertices. I will be back to this definition in a few minutes. Just to explain this slide, this is the agenda of our 3 bid rounds this year. The 11th bid round is for the equatorial margin and the mature basins. And next week we will have the submission of offers. And then in August we hope to sign the contracts of this bid round. Then in October will be the natural gas bid round on this 6th basin that I told you. And in November we expect the pre-salt bid round. And I think you are aware of it. There is a difference between these 2 bid rounds because they are the concession contract format. And this is the pre-salt will be the first production sharing contract. That is a different kind of bid round of contraction. Well, what I told you about the block that is bidded is that it is defined. Let me just see if yes. It's defined for the vertices on the surface, and the depth is indeterminated in our law. There is a difference between other countries because, for example, in the US, in some states, you have a limit of depth for exploration. In Brazil, you don't have this limit. And also, there is a difference about the property of the resources. In Brazil, everything that is under the surface is property of the federal union. And in the US and other countries, for example, the property is of the landowner. Well, this is our website dedicated for the bid rounds. We are now in the 11th bid round. In a few months, we will have the 12th bid round here. And in the left side, you can find a lot of important information. For example, the tender protocol and the contract drafts, the data package, and all the information that you need to participate as a company or to capture information as a student. Well, let's talk about the regulations. The regulations for operational safety and environment. Our superintendence is very new. We were formed last year in June. So these regulations are for the coordination of safety operations. And we have 3 major resolutions. The first one is management of safety operations for offshore units. It's a risk-based resolution. The other one is resolution number 2 for 2010, management of safety operations for onshore fields for production. And the resolution number 6 for 2011, that means the regulation for safety operations for onshore pipelines. We also have a resolution for set the rules for report incidents and conduct investigation. And there is 2 other ones. The well abandonment is under revision, this regulation, and the other one, the onshore drilling, we are preparing. And this one here will work with the hydraulic fracturing operations. So let's talk about unconventional reserves. This spreadsheet is from the International Energy Agency, and as you can see, Brazil, there is a 6.4 trillion cubic meters as technically recoverable gas reserves. You probably you will see another number in cubic feet. So 6.4 trillion cubic meters is equal to 226 trillion cubic feet of gas. And this number of the International Energy Agency puts Brazil in the 10th position as an unconventional gas reserve. So I think you all have heard this definition of shale. So I want to tell you the correct definition of shale, because here in Brazil, I always read in the newspaper in Portuguese, gás de xisto, because if you put shale on the Google translator, you will find xisto, but this is wrong. Xisto is not shale. The correct translation for Portuguese for shale is folheiro. So shale is a fine-grained sedimentary rock that forms from the compaction of silt and clay-sized mineral particles that are commonly called mud. This composition places shales in a category of sedimentary rocks known as mudstones, and shale is distinguished from other mudstones because it is fissile and laminated. Laminated means that the rock is made of many thin layers, and fissile means that the rock readily splits into thin pieces along the lamination. There are other important properties. So this is some pictures of shales. This is a natural scale, and this is a microscopical photograph. And I think you can see them here. And this is a shale formation that is on the surface. Just so you see the laminations here. There are horizontal laminations. Well, shale every rock has two important characteristics: porosity and the permeability. Porosity is the amount of pores in a rock, and the pores of the rock are empty spaces where water, oil, and gas can be trapped. And permeability is a characteristic that allows the oil and gas to flow through the rock. Permeability are measured in the matrix of porous part of the rock. Gas and oil productive shales have natural fractures and microfractures, a characteristic missing from high clay content shales that serve as natural seals and barriers, with permeability so low that they approach the permeability of steel pipe. Natural barriers are the rock seals that have held the gas, oil, and salt water in the reservoir for millions of years. What does it mean? In a conventional exploration, the shale is a seal. So below the shale, you have a source rock with oil and gas, and it is trapped because there is, for example, a layer of shale under the source rock. But the biggest difference for the unconventional exploration is that the researchers discovered that you can frack the shale and release the gas inside of this rock. So if you see this table, it measures the permeability of the rock. Each sand has a permeability of 1,000 millidarcy. Darcy is the unit for permeability. And then if you go raising down the permeability, you will find, for example, the building stone, brick, concrete, clay, granite, and shales in this order of permeability. So you can see that you are approximately trying to drill steel and make porosity, make permeability in the steel. That's why you need a lot of pressure to do these fractures, and that's why it's so important to use this technology to release the gas in this kind of rocks. This is just to help me to explain you the black regions here, as you can see as a mineral grain. And if you see here, for example, you have a porous that is not connected with the other porous, so it's an isolated porous. And this porous here is connected, making a channel. So if you put fluid in this sample of rock in the laboratory, the fluid will pass through the rock because this rock has permeability. Permeability is, in a few words, the channels on this rock. Well, the shale doesn't have these channels, so you have to frack the rock to create artificially these channels. So, how to extract natural gas from shale rocks? As you saw in the movie, you have to drill a well. So this is an onshore block, exploration block. You drill the well, vertical well, then you do this part of the well in a horizontal position, because the shale layers are normally very extensive, very it's easy because it's easy to do that because you will with one well with one horizontal well you will have a larger area for exploring, for extracting the gas. Then you do the fractures as you saw in the movie, and these white points here are the proppant, the small grains of, for example, sand or ceramic that after you extract the pressure of the fracking, these proppants will keep the fractures open. If you don't have proppant, the fracture will close because of the pressure. And then the gas that was trapped in the rock, they will be released to these fractures, and then they will go flow to the surface. Okay.
So which of that do we have the reservoirs here in Brazil?
It's a very there is a lot of variations. I can say, for example, in San Francisco, 4,000 liters in the San Francisco Basin, but it varies. Well, again, this picture of the block, and another important information in this picture is the distribution of the wells. In a unconventional exploration block, you have the wellheads grouped on the same place. This reduces the footprint of the activities, and then the strategy is to drill vertical wells, and then on the layer where the shale is found, you can distribute these wells in horizontal wells. So, some words about hydraulic fracturing. Again, the frac fluid is a mixture of water, sand, and additives that are pumped into the well under controlled pressure and fracture the shale. So this is the pump operation with the proppants. And then you let the pressure inside of the rock naturally put the gas out of the well, so the fluid that you injected, one part of this fluid stays on the rock and one other part of the fluid returns to the surface. That's what they call flowback. This is a comparison between conventional and unconventional fracturing. This is numbers for a particular well. And it's important to say that in Brazil we had a lot of conventional fracturing operations. Onshore, for example, in the Recôncavo Basin, for more than 20 years. We have registers of conventional fracturing, and we don't have a strong register or a relevant register of an accident with this kind of operations. So you usually apply 4,500 psi pressure for conventional fracturing with 700 cubic meters of water injected. The hydraulic power of the equipment in this 3,200 hydraulic horsepower, and the permeability of rock is from 1 to 10 millidarcy. The difference for the unconventional, as you can see, the range of pressure is from 10,000 to 12,000 psi. The injected volume is much bigger, also the hydraulic power, and the permeability is much lower, as we saw a few slides ago. Just to compare, if you are not familiarized with these numbers, your car tires is 30 psi. Olympic pool, the volume of Olympic pool is 2,500 cubic meters, and the water consumed for a person per year in Brazil is about 300 cubic meters. So you can now have a comparison to these numbers. What are the risks associated with hydraulic fracturing? Well, we can speak all the night about these risks. Spills and leaks, or surface pollution, subsurface pollution, earthquakes, consumption of water. We can set a lot of examples. think you saw on the newspapers or televisions or television programs a lot of examples of these risks. One of that shock people is normally when the people open the torneira. Tap. Thank you. And put the fire, and then the water turns to fire. It's the paper that I showed you on the start of this presentation. There is an answer for these cases, and some of them could be related to unconventional exploration, but it's never. There is a lot of examples, a lot of studies that proves that it's not completely linked. So you have to take care what the newspapers are telling you. How to mitigate the risks? For example, you have to test the groundwater before and after the operations. It can sound simple, but normally the operators don't want to do that because it's an additional cost. So that's why the regulations are so important. In the conventional operations, for example, that are passing through our superintendents, we are asking for the water analysis before the conventional fracturing operations. And when the operations are finished, for example, 2 or 3 months ago, after the start of drilling and the start of fracturing, we tell to the operator, oh, please give us another sample of water, another test of this water. And you can do that, you can put this on the contract. He probably will stay on that area extracting gas or oil for 20 years. So you can ask them for each 6 months, for example, give you another test of the water, just to guarantee that it's not the conditions are the same when the operations started. Another way to make the risks acceptable is reliable well design. If you are not familiarized with a petroleum well, there is like a telescope. Here's the first casing, the second casing is inside of the first casing, and then the third casing, the production casing, is inside of the other two ones. And between these casings, you have cement here and here, and the function of the cement is to isolate the well, because if you have a leak here, and you have to imagine that there is a lot of pressure in the bottom of the hole, the bottom of the well. So if you have a fluid here, you want to escape, and then the cement here will block the way to the fluid escape to the surface. So the cement operations has some kind of tests that you do when you drill the well. First you drill the well, then you put the steel casings, and then you do the cement job. And you have some kind of tests, very rigorous tests, and more than the data of these tests, what we require at A&B is the report of a technician that analyzes this data and says that it's okay, that the cementation is trustable. This is very important to do. And also the well integrity assessment. What does it mean? You check the cementation, like as I told you, and this is technical names of these tests, CBL, VDL, and use it. You have verification of casings, the steel part of the well. You can run a temperature profile, because the temperature through the well is steady. It increases as the depth increases. But if you have a leak, you will see variation on this temperature profile. So it's a way to identify that is a leak on your well. There's acoustic techniques, and all these elements, all these tests can be executed during and after construction. So there are a lot of techniques to guarantee that your well is reliable. And all the equipment, we have some critical elements, and in our regulations we ask the operators to identify in their procedures what are the critical elements for operational safety. So for example, that fracking pump works with a very high pressure, so you have to, the operator have to show us that they have system against overpressure. For example, one electronic and other mechanic. Also the wellhead, you have to install here relief valves, because if you have overpressure, the relief valves opens and release the pressure, and so you don't have an accident. And also an emergency shutdown button, for example. This is only examples of critical elements for safety. Identification and analysis of risks. This picture is on the paper from SPE, and in small words, what does it mean? You have here some kind of risks. Here, the number of occurrences of these risks and the consequence of these risks. So if you have a lot of occurrences and very severe consequences, you will be on the red region. You have to prove that you study these risks and put them in a region that they are acceptable or alarming, as low as reasonable possible. You are trying to manage your risk. So we ask for this information from the operators. They have to show us that they did this analysis and they are confident in this analysis, are trustable to put the risks on a reasonable zone. Let's do a conclusion here. Key points. Regulation should be strong, technically updated, and risk-based for unconventional operations. We have to keep the efforts related to international cooperation between regulators. We also have to manage our contracts. They should be adapted, and we want to maintain the concession regime. That's an important answer for the market, because the pre-salt will be on the production sharing agreement, but the unconventional exploration in Brazil will maintain the concession regime. The major focus is on environmental protection and safety operations. We have to keep the awareness of the affected population, so we are trying to put a chapter on the new contract about social responsibility, to keep the population informed and aware of the risks that they are facing with this kind of exploration activities, the unconventional production. Also, operators should demonstrate deep knowledge of local geology, compromise with safety procedures and risk analysis, what we call the best practices of oil and gas industry. Integration of the regulatory body with local and national environmental agencies, because these agencies, they give the permits to drill. So as we are onshore now, I don't know if everyone here is aware of it, but in each state, because the operation will be onshore, the operator should ask the license to the state organism. If you are offshore, IBAMA is the responsible for the permits, but onshore is the state agency. So you have a lot of different technical bodies on this agency. What INPE is doing to try to equalize this knowledge is to make a workshop with these environmental agencies for the states where you have the unconventional exploration, and change experience with them to put everyone in the same level of knowledge. It's important to have the permits. Other important issues: investment on infrastructure to the conventional operations, receive the supplies and also send the gas to the market. we have this weak in our country. The gas pipelines are near to the coast, but as you saw, the sedimentary basins where we have the unconventional opportunities are onshore and far from the coast. So we have to build pipelines to export the gas, for example, or we have to build electrical plants to turn the gas in electric energy and put this energy on the market. And also we have to think, as I said, about the monetization of production, transforming the gas in electricity, mining, steel, petrochemical. And to summarize, we have to think always in sustainability. Our country development, the natural resources exploration, the access to energy and the wealth generation should be equalized with the respect of laws and regulations, environment preservation. We have to think about the future generations and safety operations to has a good result of these efforts. Well, here is the links that I told you. I will send a copy of this presentation to home, and then you can access these links. This is the law that creates NP, our website, the site for the bid rounds. This is a very interesting one because here the United States government put a website when you can click on each well where an unconventional operation happened, where you have a fracking operation, and you have the data of the chemical additives used on that well. So it proves, for example, that they don't use it radioactive element, or if they use it, it was in a small amount allowed by the regulations. This is the website for OGP, where I picked one of the materials for this presentation, the International Energy Agency, and another link for a material. The Golden Rules. This is another important material for who are studying the unconventional exploration. It's the Golden Rules that makes a very good report of this technique. So I want to answer your questions and thank you for this opportunity. Thank you very much.